Right, so let's get back to this. See the end of there, there's a branch that we don't need. That one I'll leave for now. Right. Okay, I think decision made on that one. I'm going to take this strong branch out. And that one there. Right, so we're just going to tease those apart. Just going to use a little bit of wire and make a nest bend in there. So what I'm going to do is just use that to push across there and brace that. And just go into that one there, I think. Get into there. That's it, so that one goes there. Just twisting this into a double-ended S. I've done my guesswork correctly. And that goes into there. That can then hook around that branch. Certainly widened it. I need a bit more. So we'll straighten that out. Bend it back there, where the first bend was. Let's try that. Get that in the crook of that branch. Ease those apart. And that one. No, it's not working. Right, so it's a little bit too rigid to move them successfully that way. So I've actually split the fork of the the twigs there, so I'm just going to wrap them with some self-amalgamating tape just to secure it together. So with this, you stretch it, wrap it around it, it just sticks to itself. And go up to the ear of this branch. Around there a couple of times, and I'll go back down the branch. That's it. Right. I'll start that for now. I'll leave that like that for a moment. Right, so let's get back to this. Where are we? That little piece there. Right, so on this area of the tree we've got a couple of branches that are coming straight up. That's a very strong section there. We've got these two underneath, so that complete V can come off. It's not doing anything to the style of the tree at the moment. So this is in May. Off it comes. There we go. What I might try with a couple of these prunings is, I'll see if I can root a couple of them. I've got a little bucket down there which has got some water and some sphagnum moss in it, so I'm just going to put them in there for now, just to keep them moist. And the sphagnum is a natural anaesthetic as well, antiseptic, not anaesthetic. So that's going to keep it nice and clean, stop any bugs getting in while I do the rest of this. So that one's got a very long internode. That's going to be no good in the grand scheme of things. So that can come off. This one, if you now come across the top of that branch, can come off. In fact, so I might take that back to there, because we've got the start of the inverse taper there, where we have too many buds at the same point. So if we take those off, that's simplified that area. This one's coming up into the air, that can come off, that can come off. Take this one off as well. How far? I'll tell you what I might try on that. If I'm going to do some cuttings, I'm going to try a heel cut with that and try and just rip that back. That's it. So it's got a little heel on it, so that I normally find heel cuttings take better than any other type of cuttings. It's just a good to try. It may be too early in the season for taking these, but You never know until you try. So let's get that in the water. Right, that's got a nice big wound there, so that's going to need sealing. Okay. Put it on there. That. To clean up the top of the black balsam. It's where the sun's drying off, it's getting a bit plasticky. Right, time for a drink. Drinking a thing. Right. Right, so just stepping back from there, just give me a look at some of the trees. So up the top here, I'm just going to go in, move a few bits back. Now this one is going right back into the tree. That will come off right back to there. It's crossing over, that's facing downwards. Will come off. Leave that small one for now. Too long. So all of the long internodes you want to get rid of. You're just going to be out of proportion to the tree. So what I could have done with this tree when I first started was just basically do the hedge pruning method really, where you just get your shears and go straight up, straight down, make a triangle shape all the way round basically. But because this is or was a very well developed tree, you don't want to lose the bits you've worked hard for in all the years you were looking after it. So sometimes that sort of approach works, where you just go round the outside edge, just keep it pruned to a silhouette. I did that for years with a maple broom style that I had. It was in the very early days where I really didn't know too much about bonsais, didn't really know how to keep it in proper shape, so I just used to let it put on growth all through the summer, and then sort of midsummer I'd just go around and hack it back to a dome shape really. It worked, and it just kept it looking the same as the day I bought it really. So I've got a really complicated spider's web of branches there. I think the only ones I'll be able to use are the ones coming out this way, so everything on this one is coming off. Right, let's just grab the knob cutters and just tidy those little spurs up. It's getting to a stage where I can't reach what I want yet. It's too high. Might be able to something to stand on in a minute so I can get to the higher parts of the tree. There we go. We'll leave that as that. Right, so I think that one I can afford to lose that. This one, no, I think I'll leave that to draw the sap first. There's a bud underneath that needs to develop. That's okay for that area. Let's see what else we can see here. We've got very long internodes on those two. Take a risk on that. We'll take them off and hopefully we'll get back bud in there. I've got a dead branch in the middle here. This one's interfering with that one. Just do that dead piece. That dead piece. Right, so we've got a nice fat bud coming there, so I think I'm okay to nip that off. Let's leave that for a moment. Right, what can we see inside there? So that is distracting from the rest of the tree. Right. So I've got this one here that's coming straight up. It will be going back in towards the tree at some stage. There's a couple there actually. Right. Let me think about this one. Now if I'm going to take any of that off, I could leave that. Right, let's see. That could be the leader. Difficult. Right, I'm going to just get rid of that one because that's far too long. That's going back into the tree anyway, so that can come out. Take that off, it's got a massive great big internode. Same with this one, that can come off. Bring one back. That looks tidier. Right, so I've got a nice little shoot coming out there, so this whole branch could probably go. Let's have a look at it from an overall. Yeah, so basically, if you look at the overall silhouette from this one here, I could quite easily lose the end 3 inches of that branch. So if you draw a line from the apex to the widest part of the tree down here, this is starting to interfere with the outline there, so it will need to come off at some stage. So that's got a nice triangular edge to it there. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more it's telling me to take it off. This just needs a little bit of refinement. That one probably needs to come off. Just spotted that as I was looking at the outside edge, so that can come off. That might be a good cutting, so we'll put that in the bucket. Right. If I was going to bring that down, then the end of that is going to interfere with that anyway. I've got the back branch there which will fill in the space there. I think decision's been made. Which one do we leave on for the leader? Right, I think I'll just take this section here for now. So this bud is hopefully going to take on the new leader, which then means I'll be able to take that one off of there. I'm going to leave them on again to draw the sap up and to get some energy into the lower branches of the tree, so at least if it's pulling it up, they're all going to get their fair share to put on some wood this year. Right, so let me just see. Right, so the way I'm thinking now is, do I need this area? This can be the new leader of that branch. I could possibly take all of that off down to there. That does two things in one go. It stops the upward movement of that branch. As you can see, this is one of the, this is the branch I was talking about earlier, where we've got both of these branches growing upwards towards the sun. But at least with this kink in it here, it's going to bring in some movement, and that's going to bring the branch down. So that could go. I could then take off the top section of that one and let that one do the same there. Yeah, I think I've talked myself into that one. So that's going to come off as well. There we go. Right, so those two can go into the mix with this, with possible cuttings. Bucket's getting quite full up now. Right, so because I took that off, I can now look at those branches at the back of there. So these two branches here, so that one will be interfering with that one anyway. So yeah, I think we'll take the top, we'll take that top one off. Right, that's brought that within the outline of the triangle, so that now can allow me to take a bit more for that now. So as you can see, if you draw a line from the top, this is well inside there now. That just allows me to nip a bit off of there if I have to, and a bit off of here. But before we get to that stage, we've got these ones in here that need looking at. This is quite sparse growth here. That long extension, get rid of that long extension. Right, so I'm starting to get to the point now where I possibly need to take a break from it and come back and look at it again. that is too clustered there, so which one, let's take the back one out. Let's put that into a little bit of a better state. So I'll just quickly look at the top here. I'm going to take that out. That one's going to interfere with that. So if we take the top one of those off, get rid of that bud. That's it. Leave that one for the moment. Right, so we've got a nice, yeah, it's not nice, we've got too much going on in there. Right, so there's far too many branches in that area. Right. Put up the front of the tree. Here, clean the top out a little bit. Not really doing much. Well. Right, the more I look at this part of the tree, the more I don't like it. That's very, very badly scarred with wire. What decision can I make to rectify that? That's in a position to become a new leader, but it's obviously going in the wrong direction. It's very, very small. What I could do with this one is, while it's nice and flexible, bring it up like that, and then just let that grow and grow and grow. And when it's about this sort of thickness, cut this one off, and by that stage I'll have a brand new leader to the tree. Same for this one here. If I let this branch grow, I can then cut that off at that angle, and we've then got a change of angle here, and then this one would come back this way. That introduces taper as well, so that's an option. Let that one grow back this way, unchecked for a couple of seasons. Got a nice lot of growth. What I'm hoping for really would be to get some buds breaking from there somewhere, so that we can. There's also a very small one here which could possibly be used, but again we've still got that really horrible marking of the bark. So That's a big decision to make at the moment, whether I chop that off or not. If I chop that, then that leads me to chopping some of these big branches here as well, some of the real dominant ones. So if we took that off, I could shorten this branch, shorten this back, shorten this back, shorten that one, and the one at the back. That would drastically change this tree. I wouldn't want to do that all in one go. I've got a nice branch here which would take over from that one, but it would be a drastic change to this tree. I don't want to do any sawing into the branches, so we can sort of bend the thicker branches up. I've never been successful where, if you've got a branch like this where it's really thick, you saw several positions along there, then you bend it back on itself. I've never really had much success with that. So I don't want to do that on a tree this big. Got a new bit of growth there, but that's way above where I need it. Right, let me think. Right, I'm just going to take a little bit more off to the top and hopefully force the energy back down the tree. Let's take that one. And so by forcing the energy back down the tree, it may force more back budding to come out. So I'm going to take that clump out as well. That can come out. Right, I think I'll take that off as well. This little area, I'll take out that one and that one. Take that one off, take the middle out of there, that thick branch can come off. Right, so I'll just need that off of there, take that off of there, anything else. Right, so that needs to fill in that area. Right, I think for the moment I might call that a day for this tree. There's some big decisions to be made for the way this is going to go. What I want to do now really is to just let that recover. We'll give it 2 or 3 weeks. Let's watch what happens to all the buds and how they come out, and then we can come back and visit this tree again and do some more refinement pruning and decide where we're going to go. If we get a few adventitious buds coming off of this section of the tree, that's going to allow me to make a brand new apex, and then we can get rid of that top section once and for all. I didn't realise that had got as badly scarred as that. Even this part of the trunk here looks like it's been scarred at one stage. That was before I got the tree, that damage there. I'm just looking at this branch here. I might take this section off actually at some stage and just leave these two to come out. But I think that's going to be enough for today. I don't want to do too much. Or I might just nibble that dead section away. That's been annoying me. Just take that back to where it meets the trunk. Wow, that's hard. Wow. Just a little bit at a time, because this is such hard wood at the moment. It's better just to twist it off. Right, just try again. Okay. That looks a bit more natural than it was before. I might leave it like that actually, it's not so bad as it is. That'll do for now. Right, so anything else that's really obvious? Right, so that's, look at it from this area, this angle, that's got a nice compact silhouette. This branch still to me looks a bit overpowering when you compare it to this one. It's obviously got a lot of vigour in that side of the tree. I don't really want to cut it off at the moment. So we've got a couple of crossing branches here which I can live with at the moment as well, so let's just see how they develop. Right, I'm going to go around and put some cut paste on the wounds, and then we'll come back to this at another date and we'll see what sort of progress it's made. So I'll let the first flush of leaves come out, then I'll give it a feed and hopefully get it growing really strongly this year, and that way it's going to put on more growth and give me more options for what I eventually do with the style of it. So other than doing a really drastic change, it has got a lovely silhouette when it's in full leaf, or it did have before the damage got done to it. And that's what I really want to try and get back to. Sort of nice domed finish. And again, one of the main objects is to get it back into the original pot that it was in. So this one's far too deep, but I just wanted to regrow the roots as best I could, because, as I say, the tree did nearly die on me from the neglect that it had when I went away for those couple of days. The person that was in charge of the tree, it wasn't really his fault. He had a very busy week and he only managed to get back to water the tree on 2 occasions, I believe it was. So I'm lucky that more trees didn't suffer like this one, but it was one of these freak weeks in England where you start off with nice rainy start to the week and it ended up with a blistering heat. So it would happen to anybody. If I'd have been stuck at work, the same thing would have happened to me if I couldn't get home in time. One of the reasons when you see my trees, you'll see that you'll probably think to yourself that the pots are too big, or certainly too deep. I do tend to pot my trees deeper than the normal, because purely for the fact that if I get stuck at work on a hot summer's day, I do at least have the knowledge that where I've watered them in the morning before I've left for work, there should be enough moisture in the soil, because I do like to pot my trees slightly deeper than the average person. In the early days I used to follow the book slavishly and do the 2/3 of the width and the 2/3 of the height and all of that, and try and keep it exactly as the book said. But when you do them like that, you've got far less root on the tree, and the roots are what keep the tree alive in the first place. So I prefer to keep more root on the tree in a deeper pot, just so that on the days when I can't get back home at my normal time, the trees have at least got a reservoir that they can call on. I've got a couple of little shaded spots in the garden where I've put the more delicate trees, but even on a really hot day in England, some days that's not good enough. I used to have a shade tunnel that I could put them in, but I've got that's not fully functional at the moment. I need to put some more netting over the top. I bought some shading last year, which I thought was a bargain. When I got it, it turned out that it was, the holes in it were far too big, so you have to put 4 or 5 layers of it just to get 50% shading. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to persist with that and just put an extra couple of layers on top this year, or whether I buy a better quality shading and use that. That's all for the future, so we'll see.